Hello, welcome back to Pipe Bending College. Today I'm going to show you how to bend a Passover bend to measurements from a diagram. I'm going to show you how to do it two ways. The first way being the traditional way and the second way being the Mckeown technique. This video assumes that you have some pipe bending knowledge. If you don't, watch some of my other videos. Right, so the specifications of the Passover is we're going to be using 15mm copper pipe. And it's going to pass over some 15mm copper pipe with a 15mm gap, like this. Right, so we're going to draw it out first. This diagram will be used for the traditional way of bending the Passover and the Mckeown way. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw a line. We're going to measure up 30mm, so 15mm for the copper and 15mm clearance. So we're going to measure up 30mm. Like that. Okay, so that's right. Then somewhere in the middle of the paper, just draw a square line. Like that. Right. What works best for this bend is 60 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees. Like that. So that's 60 degrees. And just to recap, that's 30mm. Then looking at the specifications, they want it to be 100mm to the end of the pipe. So 100mm. And they also want it to be 110mm across. You want that?
Yeah. So visualize that 202 exam. There's 13 learners that slip through the net somehow.
So this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. We're going to cut it there and there, and that's the middle. So I'm going to show you the traditional way first. All right, so what we do next, I've cut some copper pipe 300mm long. And I'm going to mark the middle. I'm going to mark the middle, 150. There, so 150. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use an olive, like that. A good little tip of drawing a straight line round a pipe. Just use an olive. Right, the next job. So using the folding ruler, we're going to set this to this angle, which we know is 60 degrees, like that. We put our pipe into the pipe bender. At this stage, we just put it anywhere. Right, and with our folding ruler, what we're going to do is we're going to have it touching the former on two sides, 1, 2, and straight with the pipe. So let me sort of just change the angle so you can see from a better trajectory. So let me show you from this angle. So the folding ruler's touching the former in two spaces, 1, 2, and it's also in line with the pipe. So for example, that's not correct. So it's touching, touching, but not in line. Touching, touching, and in line. And when it's in line, what you do, where the two rulers intersect, you do a little mark there. And that's the centre of a 60-degree bend. We then move the line we marked on the pipe, the halfway mark, so it touches the centre of the 60-degree bend mark. Okay, so it's like that. We then bend our pipe 60 degrees, so that's about 30, 45, 60 degrees. Okay, so we bent the pipe 60 degrees. We then put our pipe onto the piece of paper, like this, making sure that this gap and this gap are the same. So I'd say about there, like that. Right, what we then do is with a ruler, do a line, just one line. What we do, we convert that to a cross. We also convert the middle to a cross. Right. What we then do is we then measure from cross to cross. So that is measuring about 82 millimetres. Cross to cross is measuring, so cross to cross is measuring about 82 millimetres. So what we then do is we then measure 82 millimetres that way, like that. And we have another cross, like that. Okay, and then what we do, we then transfer this to the other side. That one. We also transfer this line to the other side using the olive. Using the olive trick, like that. And we've also marked the back of the pipe, so we can also just check the measurements. So that from there to there is 82 mil, and from there to there is 82 mil. Got the same measurements. Right, so what we do now, using our folding ruler, we then set the folding ruler to 30 degrees. which is there, to that angle. Right, now back to the pipe bender. Right, so what we do, we put our pipe into the pipe bender. So what we want is we want this cross just touching the edge of the former, so it's got to touch it. So let's have a look. So right there. If you look, you can just about see it's just touching the cross is just touching the edge of the former, like that. Right, what we then do, make sure the pipe's straight. Example, that's not straight. Up there. And we then bend it 30 degrees. We could use this mark here, but because we want to be precise, we're going to use the folding ruler. So let's bend it 30 degrees. Which is there. Okay, it's 30 degrees. That's what we've done so far. We then, because we marked the pipe already, we've got two crosses. We then put the pipe into the pipe bender again. And just like before, exactly the same, we want this cross just touching the, right, just like before, we want this cross just touching the edge of the former, which is about there, which is there. Right, what we then do, make sure it's all nice and straight. Which is about there, about there. We then bend it around 30 degrees. Which is there. Right, we then go back to the diagram. Right, that's how it's looking. Then to meet the specifications, we mark 110 mil, and we also mark 100 mil. And we then get our pipe cutter. Cut it there. And we cut it there. Let's then go to the jig. It's 100 into like that. That's the middle. That's in line. That's in line. We then get a ruler, and that's measuring 15 mil. Right, and just to show you here what we've done. So the pipe's passing over 15 mil copper, and this is 15 mil diameter. So we can put this here as well, just to sort of show you that we've got 15 mil pipe with 15 mil clearance, it's 30 mil, and it fits into the jig. Okay, which is like this. Okay. Right, so now let's do it the Mckeown way. So using the diagram that we drew earlier, it's the same diagram. So we've got 300 millimeters of 15mm copper pipe. We're going to measure half of it, which is 150. And just like before, we're going to draw a nice straight line around it using the olive trick. A nice straight line. Like that. Okay, nice straight line around it. Right. Right, what we need to do now, so looking at the Mckeown measure back technique, because we know that this angle here is 60 degrees, we need to measure back 46 millimeters. Okay, so 46 millimeters, which is there. Okay, so that's the centre of the pipe. We measure back 46 mil. .60 degrees. Unfortunately, my pipe bender doesn't have 60 degrees on it, but I wouldn't use it anyway for an assessment because I want it precise. Okay, so on the pipe bender, that's the middle of the pipe there. We've measured back 46 mil. So that 46 mil mark is going to just touch where the former starts, which is like there. I've made another video on this if you're a bit apprehensive on how the Mckeown technique works. You then put the guide in and we then bend the pipe to 60 degrees. Right, so what we do now, we go back to our sort of diagram, but we're going to erase the measure back mark, the 46, that might confuse us. So as you can see, that's the middle of the bend. So the middle of the pipe is in the middle of the bend. Okay, so the middle of the pipe is in the right. So what we do this time is a little bit different. Right, so we scrape the top of the pipe. We do a little line like that, so that's the middle of the pipe. And where we want this pipe is we want it, so you see this line here, we want the middle of the pipe to be like that. So I'll sort of show you. So that line to the pipe should be the same, that line, so this line from the pipe should be the same as this line from the pipe, like that. And also, I'll just move this round so you can sort of comprehend a bit better. So it's in the middle this time, like that, like that, okay. And what we do now is we then draw a line on one of them, convert that to a cross, like that. Right, so we're now going to look at the measure back technique. So from this cross, we've got to bend it 30 degrees. We're going to have to measure back 23 millimeters. That's what we do. That's 25. That's 23 mil. Is there. Right, what we then do just draw a nice line around it. Like that. Okay, so from there to there, we've measured back 23 mil. And what we're going to also do now, make that into a cross. We're going to check that measurement from there to there. So that's 45 mil. So what we're going to then do is measure 45 mil, which is there. I'm going to draw a nice circle. Like that. Like that. So what we're going to do is this, that one, these are the two marks we made. So from the middle to there is the same, from middle to there is the same. Right, we then go back to get our folding ruler. So we're going to set this up to 30 degrees, which is there, like that. Right, then what we do, so that mark touches the start of the former. So just there, put the guide in. Right, and we know, right, we've got to make sure everything's straight, like that. We then bend this 30 degrees, but we're going to use the folding ruler. It's just more precise than the preset marks. Okay, so that's one. Take it out. Then put the second mark at the start of the former, like that. So that line there, if you're just touching the start of the former. Make sure everything's nice and straight in line. Which is about there. And we then bend this back 30 degrees. Which is there. And take it out. Right, we then take it out, put it back on the diagram. Got to do a mark there to cut it, and a mark there to cut it. Then go to our jig. Let's have a look. Like that. If it fits in the jig, that's the 100 mil. 110, that's the centre. That's the middle of the bend. So that's the 15mm pipe, 15mm diameter, and that's just 15mm diameter showing 15mm clearance. Okay, so both pipe, two techniques, does the same job. That's the Mckeown, that's the traditional. Now you know how to do a Passover two different ways, the Mckeown way and the traditional way. What way would you do it? Now it's your turn to have a go.